terminal screen, I guess. But it's a very technically focused session about security, and I'm very happy to welcome Gautam on our stream. Hello, Gautam. How are you doing?
Hey, Ram. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for hosting me. I think, like you mentioned, this is not going to be a technical or more oriented on the technical front. We'll talk about some of the cultural and the behavioral aspects of security. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again. It's good to talk about things like this, which is very very essential in as the trend of cybersecurity evolves. Thanks for hosting me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into specifics and details, could you please spend a few minutes just to introduce yourself? Tell us about what you worked on, and what has brought you um, to this point of being a person bringing in security to organizations.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, I think let me start. So myself, Gautam. So I started my career early 2000. So I've been in the field for around 10 years now. I started as a security practitioner initially. Uh, I got into this field by kind of accident. I never knew there is something like application security or cyber security for that matter. So yeah, that from there, I've been predominantly into application security, and where I started learning multiple things, how to secure web applications and all that. And then I spent nearly 7 years with Freshworks, where I did a lot of projects, building security programs from the scratch, and whatnot, right? So that's where my journey, I'd say, uh, kicked off. So a lot of stuff we did there to make our product secure. Also work with different engineering teams on how we can scale security, how we can embed security in the product life cycle and everything. And I recently moved to Singapore, so I'm currently working with SPH Media, um, predominantly taking care of all the AppSec and building the security culture, embedding security in product, more on that front, right? Yeah, this is like a short introduction about me. And apart from that, I also try to learn new things in the field of cybersecurity. I've also spoken in few conferences in the past, which are more of a technical, and I thought, it's very essential, and will be a different topic to talk about building security cultures, because things have evolved a lot, and it's very necessary for organization to think about security in a different angle. Yeah.
Yeah, because every time I talk to people about security, um, they expect a very technical deep dive into
Mm,
something having to do with libraries and fuzzing and some other secrets and some techniques and all of these stuffed with fancy buzzwords and things. And so when I came across your profile and spoke to you earlier about what you did and got an introduction, I was very excited to talk about bringing in security culture, because as a developer myself years ago, I've been guilty of not paying attention to security during development,
mm,
and kind of starting to not like the security people, because they'll come in a week before the release and say,
yeah.
oh, this scanning showed that scanning showed this, you're not supposed to do the release without all these, and then they'll add to all of these last minute struggles. And
Mm.
um, I mean, I guess I'm guilty of not being very mature about security myself. And so what is it that you can tell us about developers being developers, and what's that like? Is that something that you come across all the time in your job, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, correct. Exactly. Like you mentioned, right? During initially, a security professional for that matter, right? The tech, not only like application or anything. They are like kind of gatekeepers, or more from a policing front where everybody don't like them, right? So whenever you go and talk to a developer, they feel that you are like doing a fault finding on whatever they code, or whatever they develop and all that, which is not good, right? So if you find something, if you try to find some fault or mistake in someone, it will be like you cannot have a good relationship, right? So this has been a great challenge, and I think till today, like we are still facing that challenge. So it's very important to tackle this challenge, right? So I think it can be think in a way, or like approached a way where we are trying to bring or add a value. We are going to be working together, or like we are just going to enable them, not trying to find mistakes or find the faults. We are trying to enable them to do better what they are currently doing. So if you have this mindset and the approach, I think that will definitely work out. We are going to be their companions. We are not still have the mindset of trying to say, hey, you did this wrong, so because of it, so much of being vulnerable has been in the production, it has been identified, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I think it's important to realize that everybody is on the same team and working
Yeah.
towards the same goals. And I think that can, you know, be a challenge just amongst people on the same team. But I think it's definitely um, a big challenge when you talk in terms of a security focused team that's working alongside app development and other teams. You had prepared some stuff for
Mm,
showing us, Gautam.
yep,
You want to?
yep. We will just see some slides so that it's make more engaging, and then we will touch
Sure.
point some of things, right? So I think, yeah,
Yeah,
as,
go
as
for
we
it.
discussed, yeah, talk about the building security culture, right? Okay, so this is something that we always you might have come across and see. So what is the expectation for any cybersec, or like CISO, or any cybersec team, right? So most of them, like you do a lot of trainings, you educate them and all that. So you feel that not even a single person, not for false phishing test or anything for the matter. Later that and then you realize that out of all that you have done, there'll be uh, one person who, like inadvertently, or like without knowing, somewhere he will fall for it, right? It's not something intentional. It's not something to pinpoint, saying that we did all this, but still, yeah, that happens, right? That's how the scenario is. That's a reality. Whatever like you do, it's very important to bring that behavior thing and make them very conscious of what they are doing, right? So this gives the picture, and why we need to focus more on the behavioral and uh, things like that. Yep. Okay. And then this is some statistics that I read about, right? So often, like most of the data breaches happen because of the human error. This is based on the Verizon data breach investigation report conducted on 2021, which is pretty old, but still, yeah, it's still relevant, right? The hackers and the attackers every day, they try to find the entry point to be the employees, or like to be the employees, or like the human entry point, right? So they will be the first target. They will try to drop a phishing email, or trying to do a spoof call saying that we are calling from this, that, and that, because it happens everywhere, not only in any organization, like banks, everywhere, right? Because they know that's an easy target. So that's a first target they will try to do. Once that is not success, then they will look at the application vulnerabilities, try to different endpoints, right? So it's a very tight challenge that we have today. And the other side, there is also a checkpoint research that's being done, showing that uh, there are most of the employees try to ignore the cybersecurity guidelines, and who reads the policies, and right, nobody reads the policies, like let's say it's a full page of theoretical document which nobody like don't have the time to read, and even they read, they get lot of questions. If they are not from a technical background, they will really find it hard to understand the jargons and everything, right? So that's also one challenge that we have today. And after the pandemic, right, everybody started to do the work from home. It brought up a lot of challenges, right? So you have your own devices, connect to not even a corporate network, like your public network, home network, which widens the attack surface. And it was pretty easy for the hackers to succeed with the attacks that they do subsequently. Let's say once you click a phishing email, if you are part of a corporate network, you will have some firewalls, something blocking in your SOC team get alerted. Somewhere they can try to identify and help you. But if you're a public network and it's like quite wide open, right, it's very difficult. You come at the last resort saying that, hey, I see like some random Slack messages has been sent out, or I get an email, my system is not working, suddenly shutting down. So it's almost like, you never knew what the exposure that's been we got, right? So these are some of the statistics and challenges being currently faced. You want to talk more about it or anything on this front?
No, I think it's a very interesting set of points that you bring about, because how do you get people to pay attention to memos from the
Hmm.
security team? It's very hard for
Very
me
hard.
to think about how that can happen. And then when you mention things like working from home has its own set of challenges, and that's really not something that I even thought about. We're all just taking advantage of not having to commute, and let's just stay at home and things like that. And um, in the middle you have all of these things. I How do you get people to think in terms of attack surfaces and things like that? Because the only things I've studied about cybersecurity all have to do with complex algorithms and all of these things. But I'm not trained to think in terms of attack surfaces. I'm not trained to think in terms of weaknesses in the whole sort of supply chain when I'm producing software. How does that change happen, Gautam? I'm just very curious. So it must be very
Yeah.
challenging for you.
Yes, yes, definitely, yeah, definitely. It doesn't happen from day one. It's very long journey that I would say. Right. I we will try to see some things in the next slide. Maybe just show you here. Okay, so few things first, like some of the key steps that we need to take in building that culture, right? So some of them are like identify your stakeholders. What I mean is like know who are the people who can who are like the first line of defenders, or like the first line of security engineers, or like who whatnot, like who will be the target. Let's say uh, you have different teams in an organization. You have a sales team, you have an engineering team, you have a pre-sales guy, and everybody, right? So from an attacker perspective, if you think like if they are planning to target someone, right, who will be the first one? Are they going to target any developer directly? Are they going to target any pre-sales guy or the sales guy? And you need to find out that. And it's very important to identify. Let's say you cannot train, or like you cannot identify everybody as your security champions, or security kind of a responsible security, right? That's not possible. So it's very important to know who we are going to identify and train them. Second is a very important point. So you have to have a buy-in leadership from every team, right? So today you talk to like director of pre-sales, saying them, hey, we like we want to do some training about security, all that. They might ask question that why is it necessary for us? Like you already have multiple tools in place, you have all the controls, what benefit we are going to get, right? And if it is not from those leadership persons, right? Then it's very difficult for the peers and the one downs below them, right? If you're not able to convince a director of what we are gonna, then obviously if you do some sessions with the team, they're gonna say, and they are doing something which is not really effective. They are just taking our own time. We don't even know what they are like, we are going to do and all that. So it's very important to have this buy-in from the leadership. It should be a top-down approach, saying that, hey guys, like, the security team is going to do this, the cyber security team is going to do this. So try to attend and see how you can make it beneficial, give them the feedback. So it's a collaborative one. The third thing is a training program. This is very important. You cannot have one size fit for all. You cannot have a technical session for everybody, right? You can have a technical session talking about vulnerabilities to the engineering teams, but not to the sales team or the pre-sales guy or the support guys. They would even understand what we are talking about. So that doesn't gonna work. So it has to be a uh, target and audience oriented training programs that we should develop. So in terms of like, we should think from perspective, if an attacker is planning to target a pre-sales guy, right? How what are the things they should notice? What are the things they should take care in mind? If it is a developer, what are the things they should take in mind? And they should be like on adding on top of the base guidelines that we are going to provide. And the last point, again, a very important point, the incentives and recognition, right? So, okay, I'm gonna attend all your programs. I got the buy-ins and everything. Okay, what I'm gonna get, like, I'm gonna. It's not like giving something for them to attend, but it's kind of a recognition and make them more responsible and make it, acknowledgement or recognition for the effort that they have spent. For the other domain or for the security team, right? They are going to add the value, right? It's very important. The last point is feedback and improvement. This baseline for any program for that matter. You need to get a continuous feedback and try to improve your training programs, your approach, your tools and everything. Let's say today I try to do one security session, let's say per week or like 1 hour. Okay, then you say them, okay, this is all the things you need to follow. It's not going to happen. Maybe one or two will try to come up with question asking them, hey, how to do this and all that. But once their work gets busy, they get occupied with other stuff. They even don't care about your training recording sessions and be laying there without no use, right? Yeah, so these are the key steps that we can do to tackle or like building that cultural thing, right?
So I just wanted to interject about one thing. Um, this top-down approach that you're talking about.
Mm.
Um, in your experience, you're saying that works better than a bottoms-up approach where developers are constantly sensitized and trained, but there's challenges in that, and it's easier solved when it comes top-down. Um, I'm just having.
Exactly. Yeah, correct. Yeah, this is from I think from my experience as well, right? Uh, we have seen teams actively kind of participate and try to take that seriously. I know when it's from a top down, let's say engineering manager, like nominate them and talk to them and let them know, hey, there is something that's happening, so this is very essential. This is part of their KPIs and part of their everything, right? Then it becomes much more easier for the security teams to have that happen, right? If not, if it is like nowhere visible, right, you keep sending them multiple invites. You, however, how much you talk to them, they are gonna be busy with their work. It's gonna because they are not going to their priority will be differ. They give prior to their work whatever is being assigned by the manager, by their team as part of the roadmap and everything, right? If it is a top down approach, let's say one training session should be attended by every engineer as part of 3 months or like in a quarter. If it is part of their roadmap or in a KPI, then obviously that engineer will try to attend that since it's part of the KPI, or like it's from the top down approach, right? So they'll try to attend at least for the matter, just to make that checkbox done, mark it done, right? So that's one thing that work for us, I think. And also, most importantly, it gives a visibility and for the leadership teams as well, right? So what we are trying to do with this, so it's give them visibility of all the leaders to know what exactly is happening, and where things can go wrong and all that, right? So that's one of the key point
Are
actually.
you seeing a lot of teams adopt some security initiatives into their OKRs and KPIs and other things? Can you give us examples of one or two?
Uh, yeah. So in terms of OKRs, we from an product perspective, I can give you some examples, right? So let's say we wanted to develop some secure libraries, or arrest some vulnerabilities, right? So what we do is, like, we try to talk to them and let them know, hey, we have something like this, can you guys try to adopt it, or include it as part of your roadmap, so that it's not a missed it, or it's not something that security team needs a follow up on. Have you done this, when it will be done, something like that, right? So it's very essential to add it to part of the OKRs. Obviously you cannot overload them. It's like kind of a 10% or 15% that you ask them to buy in for, like, allocate something for security. If at least you have a kind of a buffer there, you never know what we are going to do it, but at least have a 10% time, or like 15% of time to do a security tab. It could be something like fixing the vulnerabilities in the backlog, or trying to develop something new, or like um, investing times on multiple evaluation of tools and things like that, right?
Got it, got it. Yeah, sorry to block your flow. You can continue.
Yeah, so these are some of the key steps, and with that, let's see some of the initiatives that are currently there, and some things we have tried out, and some maybe people watching this talk can benefit trying out, is like, I think everybody might know the security champion program. I'm not sure whether you heard of it. This is like a very popular program that with many organizations trying to do. It's been there for quite a long time, wherein you try to identify security champions. What I mean is, like, it can be mostly from the development team, who is going to act as a bridge between the security team and the development team, right? So they are going to involve, work closely with the security team, understand what their needs are, like, whenever there is an issue, whenever there is something new thing that security team was going, and it differ from organization to organization. So this is a term that used to build that program, but responsibility says, like, only security champion should do only this or only that. It's not like that. You can obviously uh, change the responsibility depending on your organization, what will suit for organization, right? And they also feel something they can, adding a feather to the hat that currently they have. They also feel something bringing the impact and all that. So this is a kind of a arc-wide recognition that you can give it. The second thing is internal hackathon and CTFs. I think most of the time we see organization doing hackathons for new feature development, and um, adding features to the product, or developing something that is like deal breaker and all that. But specifically to cybersecurity or security hackathon will be a new thing for everyone, right? Often we have also seen some cases where there will be people in the engineering team, development team, QA and all that, right? They'll already have some security mindset, they have some background about security, right? until we do some sessions, or they come up with, hey, there is a security team who does all this. Then they, like, get enlightened, and then come to us and say, I know I am already have some security background during my college. I have done some hacking and all that, right? So these type of initiatives will enlighten them, will trigger them, to be a security champion, to get the things done quickly. So these things will help them. Let's say you do a hackathon to have a fix the security backlog. So those will be the guys who will, participate very actively, and you can get the work that can be done. And the CTFs also, you can do like something like, finding the vulnerabilities in the particular product, or like more what they work on. So it's like more of an interesting stuff they are like. And the other thing is like dashboards and scorecards. I think this is also one of the key initiative organization can tackle. Dashboards in the sense like, coming up with some dashboard showcasing them, what are the, most identified issues, and what is the current security status, uh, how much they adhere to the policies, how much of backlog they have, so that this gives a kind of a good sense versus bad sense. If the product is really good, if the engineering teams are like on par with following the security SLAs on it, it's gonna be give them a pride saying that, hey, we are like, now 95% adherence to the SLA, where the other product is, let's say, 85, 80. They will always try to, a kind of a race that, it indirectly that creates. So they try to, hey, like, they're 90%, we have to reach that place, what we can do. They come and actively ask us like, hey, Gautam, like, we have to reach that place, so can you help us? So these are some internal tricks and, tips kind of a thing that you can do to get there. Scorecards are something, are also like, give them some numbers showing them, okay, we are like, top 3, top 2, and all that. And the last point is very interesting, right? The newsletters and tech stock. Often the newsletter thing is very prevalent these days. You see a lot of people writing a lot of content. This was not in back in like 10, let's say 5 or 10 years, where, you see newsletters, especially in cyber or any software for that matter, very less. But today, people try to write and share knowledge on whatever experience they have. So I think, specific to security, like, let's say what are the things happened in the infosec team, what are the challenges, what are the initiatives they are trying to bring in, send them as part of the infosec newsletter, right? At maybe 1 or 2 newsletters, people will not try to read it. They will see, okay, there is a newsletter, they what's going to there. But once you have some interesting content there, they're gonna follow it. They'll be waiting for it to know what has happened. And conduct some tech talks also. We have done this in the past. So we conduct dedicated sessions, bring everybody. It's also not going to be technical. You can just walk through them. What are the challenges being faced, what are the security team every day in day out, what they do, what are, how many, how. So these things make them interesting. So they really know, oh, these guys, you guys do all this very interesting. Until they know what we do, right, they are not going to come to you. uh, because engineering, we know, they do a lot of stuff, they develop product features, we see all the code and everything. But security is kind of a backstage, where, all the program and everything happens in the front, but there are people like holding the stage, very hard for that program to be succeed. Until the screen closes, everything will be like, finding difficult. So security is always in the backstage doing a lot of groundwork, right? And the last point I'll touch, and then we'll continue discussion, is the any program for that matter involves people. So the people is the first point there. So those will be the first entity: people, tools, process, and goals. So these four are very essential, and the people part is very essential. So you should always think about from their perspective. Okay, I'm doing something. Will it sell? Or like, will they accept it? No, that's not. No, it's the answer. But still, how you can make it as yes is what we should think of. Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm just going to dig into one or two of the things that you just mentioned. Um, And I'll start with the most challenging one, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Newsletters, and it's very hard to get people to pay attention to. Um, are you also including stuff like learning in public? And if is this, are you saying that this is content that people can source from within, or is it something that has to go from, the security team just tells people, but versus you invite your engineers to write about things that they've learned and things like that? Does that help improve
Yeah.
attention?
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. So that's actually a good point. But this type of newsletters generally, from a few organization trend, right? It gives you a holistic picture of what has happened. Let's say if it's a weekly, it's gonna say what is the important highlights, what is the deals being won, and all that, right? So I mean, I think it's good to start with the security specific newsletters. Just let them know what's happening within the security engineering teams, and let them know how the security team is handling tackles and all that. So once as it kicks off and catches attention attraction, like you pointed out, you can bring or invite engineers to write about how they go about finding an vulnerability, or in case of any incident, what is the thought process behind them. So how did they work along with the security teams, and kind of a user story that every person can read. So it will be a good read for the non-technical persons, and they can also feel that, hey, wow, this is very good how teams are coming together and working to solve something which is very important for the organization, right? So I think that can be done as well. Yeah.
Do people feel a little apprehensive or scared sometimes to report vulnerabilities and things like that, and try to fix things on their own without letting other people know? Does Is that
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that happens?
Yes,
How do
obviously
you
that
deal with
happens.
that?
Yeah. Sometimes what happens is, right, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes people come at the last stage, right? So they never knew that will happen. So they try to balance with the things that they know, and then at last something wrong happened, they come to the security team and say, hey, oh, I don't know, really, I thought it will not happen, and then they come to it. So it's a very hard time for the security team members to do all the things. The reason is that maybe some of the points is that they don't know where to reach. Sometimes they even know that there is a process in place, there is a security team in place, there is a Slack channel, or there is a email that is available. They don't know whom to report. Sometimes they'll be kind of restricted, or like hesitant to report it to say to a manager, right? Because obviously your manager is going to do your appraisals, and if you do something wrong, who they send, they'll just keep silent. But I think once you try to let them know, or create an awareness saying that uh, there is some channels available, there is no way it gonna harm them, or like, let's say, they're not gonna get it anything negative. I think that has worked for us. People proactively come to us and notify. I think it's very important to have the channel established first. So once you have the channel and create awareness, train them on how to report and all that, they will definitely reach out to you. At least, even if not everybody, at least they will talk to the colleague. They will somehow discuss, hey, something happened to me yesterday during the coffee breaks. And if that the other colleague is aware of, hey, I know how this has to be reported, let me directly talk to the security team. I know a guy from security team, let's have a casual chat with them, and then let them know this happened. That's going to work out. It's not going to be a formal way of dropping an email or Slack chat and things like that. Yeah.
It's very interesting to learn of how technology and humans interact, and where in that intersection, there's a lot of ways in which you realize that you're working very hard on technical solutions to what might be people problems. And um, it's fascinating to me, the way technology affects people and vice versa, the way humans behave with technology and do
Uh,
different things with it. Yeah.
but I think but it's a different scenario altogether if you take in terms of personal things, right? Let's say you receive a message from your bank saying that let's say you're like a bank account has been debited with something. You're not going to ignore, right? You're definitely going to search and find the bank support or something, go directly visit the bank and ask them, hey, like how can this happen? This is, I did not do this, I'm very sure happening. But when it comes to the other side, right, people are like will try to be little hesitant. This is kind of a phishing email or something, let's ignore. It's not my cup of tea. I am not no way involved in it, I did not do anything, so why should I do it? It's not my job. So that's where you need to bring that the make them responsible and understand. This is also very important because like it's security is everybody's responsibility, right? It's like don't ignore that, okay, there is a security team which will take care of it, because but by
Correct.
the time you realize that security team will not even receive that email or something because it was a targeted attack focusing on you or something. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I
So,
still okay. Let me. I still have one slide left.
okay,
I
go for it.
think so. Uh, yeah, the last part is the challenges. This is also key. We talk about, yeah, you can do that, this everything, right? But there are a lot of challenges, right? So as mentioned, behavioral challenges going to take time. Okay. Like the bank analogy, bank involves money, so they are going to respond immediately. When it comes to work and all that, it's going to take some time. You do a training today and don't expect them to come tomorrow or the next week saying them, hey, I received a phishing email, what should I do? It's gonna take some lot of time, right? It also involves motivation for them to actively engaging with them to understand what we are trying to achieve. And that point is like it's very difficult to measure since it's a behavioral change and all about the human aspects and the mindset and everything, right? It's not difficult to measure. You cannot really say, okay, we did a training today, let's see how many people start to report to us. No, it's going to happen. Maybe you can measure some using the tools like using how many of them click the phishing simulation and all that, but still it will be very difficult. And resource management is a key challenge because let's say today you identify someone as a security champion, you train them end to end, they're also all good, all set. Suddenly something happens, they leave the organization, then entire thing goes off. Then you need to identify a new person, you need to do all the things, you need to do everything from the scratch. The person may be very different in adapting to things and all that. So that is also again a key challenge that we have. Yeah. These are some of the major challenges that I see, but other than that, most of the things can be done.
No, I think I agree on all counts here. Can I dig a little bit into what you use as typical metrics, for example?
Okay. Uh, Typical metrics we can take is what I can say how many developers we train, like how many developers we train, and try to see or like find out the behavior or the way the code and how much of issues being identified or like after then before the training. Let's say before the training you see, let's say like 50 to 100, and after rigorous training going through all the secure coding training platforms and all that, if you really see there is a reduction in number of vulnerabilities, that's a good metric. Then that's a good KPI that directly ties that your program is successful, right? And also we have done few things like leveraging not only the developers, the QA members and all that. So if they are able to execute some of the test cases and identify vulnerabilities, that again it's a KPI, right? And your security champions program, your security champions are able to influence and do security stuff, that's a KPI. So there is a different KPI that we can decide depending on the program that we do. Yeah.
Sure, sounds good. It always, piques my interest when people talk about metrics and things like that, because most things are hard to measure,
Yeah.
especially things that are, cutting across technology and
Yes.
human behavioral barriers here, and it can be very hard, I guess, to predict
Definitely,
what.
yeah. Especially in terms of this training and non-technical stuff, right? It will be a very big challenge. You cannot really know which areas to measure, and even if you measure, it cannot be 100% accurate. You can have a strikes and balances, say that okay, let's decide, like, this is the metric that we can identify. Yeah.
Interesting. Gautam, I wanted to also get your comments about a couple of things.
Hmm.
Um, if you're done with your slides
Yep.
and
Yeah.
presentations,
I'm
it will
done.
be,
I'm
yeah,
done.
cool.
I'm done.
I mean, I wanted to just talk about, what are things that apply to, let's say, open source communities
Mm.
based on what you've seen so far. I mean, training programs, things like that are great for, companies that have a budget, that have definite teams and things like that. You have any thoughts about security culture and open source? You mind sharing that with us?
That's a gray area, and very challenge that we have ahead, right? Uh, Today, there are a lot of open source projects, and earlier there used to be some process and some guidelines to be followed. You have restrictions, but today, uh, uh, the way the products being built and engineers are, like, giving the high quality features, they try to do research and identify a lot of open source projects that are available. um, and with increase in the supply chain security, and the way that's expanding is also challenging. um, I would suggest, we can take a, mm, approach where, if you are, like, doing something, if you're trying to come up with something, or trying to build or achieve something which involves an open source, right? So with a security in mind, with a security mindset, I suggest you approach a security team. Try to do a check with them. Hey, like, this is my objective. I'm trying to develop this, so I need a open source project that I can use. Can you do a quick review of it, right? That's one thing. So obviously a security team will have a better tools and process in place to let you know if you can use it, or is there an alternative, then use it, or, like, if you still want to use it, what is the procedure that you can use, right? And also they will also try to build an inventory of different open source project that one person needs. Maybe other person can come, they also say it's already there in the inventory, we are maintaining it, you can go and use it there, right? And second, if you are, like, if you are not taking the security part, if you're directly trying to use on your, like, projects and everything, I suggest don't use it blindly. Try to understand what exactly it's doing. Do some research and understand what exactly it's doing, and if you feel it's something doing different that what you expected, but doing something that's not expected also, so be careful in doing that. So if you feel it's not required to do some calls or something like that, you immediately, try to avoid using it. Look for alternatives from trusted sources, which can do the job. Yeah. I hope, like,
Okay.
I answered question. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very difficult area, to be honest. And um, the other thing I wanted to ask you about was, for people who are getting started in the field of security,
Hmm.
or in application development in general. Uh, do you have any ideas or thoughts about, here are good things or resources for beginners to take a look at and become more cognizant and more aware of security in the workplace and security when building applications and things like that?
Hmm. Okay. I think for people who are starting out in security, security vast. So you take there is application security, there is infrastructure, now the cloud, now AI is coming up, AI security. So I would suggest you can read about them, get a knowledge of what each domain is about, and out of which something will definitely have interest, you get interested. So choose one, any of the one domain, and do a research. There are a lot of resources available like OASP, there is Sportsvigger, in terms of application security, right? I'd say. And There are a lot of security professional in LinkedIn, in social media, everything. So feel free to reach out to them. Earlier there was no these kind of things where you don't try to talk to them very easily. But now things are, you can direct drop them LinkedIn message, they are gonna help you out. You can ask a lot of forums and everything, right? So I'll say, like, find the interest of the domain that you are interested in, and I think Google is the answer. So you I'll say Google is the answer. And you can also, now that you have the AI, you just say, okay, I'm interested in that, what, get me the resources. It's gonna get you resources and do that. Yeah,
I
because
think I
earlier,
can't let
yeah,
you off without
yeah.
asking you how much of an impact in your current role are you seeing because of AI? What's the deal with AI and security?
it's like it's like AI is everywhere, right? So you talk anything about it, AI. Like, I recently my CISO told me, like, to read about AI and all that, come up with strategy and all that. I told him, like, the first thing I'm gonna do is, like, learn AI for the next 6 months, or next 3 months, because everybody talks about, they're giving AI feature, there is AI security and all that, but there is no kind of direction where we need to go. There are few there, but I'll say that it's not completely dark out there, but still there is no path being set. So there will be a lot of research, and you need to spend some lot of homework in trying to understand and strategize the AI stuff. Right. It's a very, very rapid, and you need to quickly catch up.
It certainly is. There is an AI cyber challenge that the OpenSSF is supporting. So,
Nice.
folks who are interested can take a look at that. There's also a security in AI working group that the OpenSSF has. So, again, if folks are interested, I would highly recommend um, you know just popping into the openssf.org website and learning more about it. Um, I just had a few housekeeping announcements, Gautam. So, just a
Yep. Yep.
couple of minutes, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, for those who are watching, there's Sauce Fusion, an OpenSSF event focused entirely on open source application security. It's happening in Georgia, Atlanta, USA. So if you're interested and security is your jam, do take a look. There's also a bunch of different courses that you can get access to by scanning this QR. It basically, you know, eh, are a set of Linux Foundation courses for those interested in learning about security. There's also a bunch of different OpenSSF projects that I would recommend you take a look at. So if you scan this QR code up here, those will show you the projects that OpenSSF has. But overall, Gautam, it was such a pleasure having you here today.
Yeah.
Um, Sorry, I was late by a few minutes in getting this started and getting the ball rolling. You've been an amazing guest, very patient and very thorough.
Yeah.
Again, it's not, I mean, technology by itself is very hard. Human behavior by itself is very hard. When you combine the two, I just can't imagine how you do your job every day. but I guess those challenges are what motivate you and push you along. So
Yes,
thank you so
correct.
much for
Yeah.
taking the time, for being here and sharing all of that information with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Ram. Thanks a lot for hosting me. It's a different, talk that I gave. Like, so far being technical, I just open my terminal system, share like all the tech stuff.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting, and I had to read about a lot of stuffs, and I am like trying to learn new things part of the talk. And I also think the open security, open SSF is also a great initiative that I would say, because it's just laying the groundwork for the path towards the open source security in the future, which is very important. Earlier days, you don't have things like this, so I believe this lays the foundation for a better security landscape. Thanks for me having me again. It's just like pleasure talking to you. Yeah, hopefully we'll do some more talks in the future as well. Yeah.
We absolutely will. So, if you're in the security realm, if you'd like to be featured on the show, please reach out. Um, Gautam was very kind
Yeah.
in coming forward and um sharing all the knowledge that he had very openly, very willingly, and so really grateful for that. Um, but yeah, do check out what the OpenSSF is doing. There's a lot of ways in which you can participate too. I highly recommend checking out what the working groups are doing and seeing if anything piques your interest. But yeah, thanks for watching the show. And
Thank
once
you.
again, thank you, Gautam.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Yeah, have a good